This week I learned a lot of you had no idea that the Beatles were amazing. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update, the 1st of December. Lots of new things happening on the channel. Lots of old things. We're going to talk about the week that was and the week that will be. We're going to begin, guys, like usual, with What Am I Reading? Well, guys, I finished The Empire of the Vampire by Mr. J. Kristoff, and it was very, very good. Okay, it's very, very good. Let's put it that way. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I know a lot of people, when you voted on it, you said that you wanted me to be able to tell you if it was worth your time or not. Yes, it is very much worth your time. Do have a couple of footnotes on that, though. If really bad language bothers you, might not be the best option for you. But hey, I think most of us are adults here, and I think you'll be fine. But again, if that's something that's going to bother you quite a bit, I don't really know. But outside of that, I think it's just a great, great story, and you guys are going to enjoy it. I talked about it a lot more in my November wrap-up, and I do hope to get around to talking at length about it here pretty soon. You know, I actually emailed the author to ask him if he'd want to come on the channel and talk to me, and I got like an auto response, so that makes me think I won't be getting him to read that email anytime soon. So if you guys want me to talk to Jay Kristoff and you have social media, hey, drop him a message and let him know I'd like to talk to him, because I think it would be a great, great conversation. I finished Berserk Volume 29. This one, which I know you guys are like, oh, hurry up, hurry up. I have it on the schedule now to finish the Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc in December. So I'd sold 5 more of those in December, and then I'll finally get to talking about that. Although I want to tell you, you strugglers out there, be careful what you wish for, because I know that there's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about when I review that arc that you might not like, and I'll leave it at that. And then, guys, I started Godblind a day early. Look, I'm already about halfway through this. I'm going to tell you this straight up. This is awesome. This is awesome. If this is any indicator for what this trilogy is, I'm going to love it. I'm about halfway through book 1 at this point, and what I will say is, look, it's not Joe Abercrombie. And that's the first thing people are going to ask me. While it's not Joe Abercrombie, while I think it's because her characters are a little different, yet it does very much feel like something that could take place in the world of First Law, but where the gods are a little more involved with the mortals, almost like in a Malazan kind of way. You know, they're kind of pulling some strings. So I'm definitely not that, hey, it's blank meets blank meets blank. I'm just saying, if you're a First Law fan, I think you'll like it. Her character work, obviously, this is her debut novel, isn't as strong as Abercrombie's is. Obviously, I mean, that's kind of a high bar there, but I can see Joe Abercrombie fans liking this quite a bit. And guys, there's a scene about 30-35% of this book that is more brutal than anything I read in First Law. So it might make you a little squeamish, but the dialogue on this is really, really great, and I'm having a great time. I can't wait to continue with this. And yeah, quick chapters. I mean, it's you know, I said that John Gwynne always has like those quick chapters. This is even worse. These are snappy little chapters that will go up, and you'll find yourself being like, one more, and then realize, oh crap, I need to go to bed because I got to get up at 5 a.m. for work. But yeah, I'm flying through this, and I don't imagine that it's going to take me that long to finish all of them this month, even though we have started reading Malazans. That brings me to what am I going to read. Now look, I'm going to resume Godblind. I'm going to read the rest of that trilogy this month, and I'm going to finish Berserk volumes 30 through 35. And yes, guys, it is Reaper's Gale month, and like you can see how much I read today. Yeah, so look, Godblind is just really good, and look, work has been a bear the last couple of days, and plus my kid's got this game that we're playing that he's really kind of demanded some of my personal time, so I haven't actually even started on it yet, which I know is bad when you're hosting the read-along. Like I said, I felt like that read-along, that the warband had gotten so small. Who cares if I didn't start until the weekend? You know, that's the way I was looking at it. So I kept saying, okay, I'm just going to do a little bit of Godblind, and then I couldn't stop reading it. So that's on me. Look, I'll get on to this as usual. It's just I'm not going to wipe this one out in, you know, the first 10 days of the month like I did Bone Hunters. And the reason I think I wanted to do that is because, look, Bone Hunters was awesome. It was a very, very quick read for me. But here's the thing. I'm afraid that if I do that, I'm going to get to the point where I'm not retaining stuff. And this is a series I don't want to rush. I said since the beginning it's a series I want to take my time with, make sure I'm getting as much as possible because I know you're never going to get everything. But I felt like I mostly understood with Bone Hunters. But here's the thing: if I burn through this one in a week and a half, like I did that one, I feel like maybe I would start to get to the point where I'm not retaining a lot. So I got lots of vacation time coming up here at the end of the month for the holidays, and that's definitely probably the time I'll be knocking this out for good. But instead of it being like the first half of the month, I think this one will be the month of December this month. So if you're still on that read along, hey, drop in the comments. Let me know that you're still there. Drop on the Discord and say what's up, because lots of people will want to talk to you there. But like I said, I feel like at this point it was just me and the rereaders. Not as many of the first-time readers there, so I didn't feel like I needed to make sure that, at 12:01 a.m. on December the 1st, I jumped right into it like I had at previous books. So it is what it is. But I've got other people reading Godblind with me and stuff, and when I'm trying to compete against audiobookers who read a book in a day, I gotta try. If I want to try to start part of that conversation, I gotta kind of breeze along. So I'm decided to do Godblind kind of first, like I did with Wayward Pines last month. But that's really all I've got planned, guys. I mean, I'm going to do my Crichton book, which is Disclosure. The Stephen King book this month is Dolores Claiborne. So we're going to get to all these things, but front half of the month is going to be Reaper's Gale and Godblind. That's what I got on my to-do list here. Now, this week on the channel, we did continue as The Wheel Turns. Madison and I was Season 1, Episode 4. An episode, I think, has kind of felt like, and I'm talking about the show, not our show, it has kind of felt like the arrived moment, for the show, because I've had this to the point where you had some people on edge who are like, okay, if it doesn't do this or this, I don't know if I'm going to keep watching. And it seems like almost unanimously, people, especially non-readers that were iffy on this, are all in after this episode. So a great episode. I thought it was the best one yet. But again, Madison and I are way more positive on the series than I think a lot of book fans are. But we have also said, look, guys, we both read this for the first time, like 2.5, 3 years ago. So we didn't grow up with it. So I think that's why we're more receptive to some of the changes they're making. I tell people, man, adaptation's hard. You got to change some things. And all the changes he made, almost, there's some that still remain to be seen. I'm on board with most of them. I'm fine with it. But again, I'm the guy who's like, I don't care that Tom Bombadil wasn't in Lord of the Rings. And that's my favorite fantasy series ever, So maybe I'm just easier on these things than other people. Did a talk about nothing for 3 hours with AP Canavan. And the funny thing about that, guys, we talked for 4.5. I just recorded 3 of them. So AP, great dude, easy to talk to. As you guys can see, super, super intelligent, just off the charts intelligent. I think that he's much more of a critical reader than I am, because some of the things he told me on camera and off were stuff that I was like, I never really looked at it that way. So, yes, he is more than just a Malazan scholar. The man is a scholar all the way around. Not allowed to call him a gentleman, because he told me that was an inaccurate description. But I think he's just one of the nicest guys that I've met while doing this whole booktube thing. And I hope you guys will check out his channel, because he does some really, really good breakdowns of some things, even stuff that you don't necessarily like. Like I said, he talked about Name of the Wind, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of riveted by this. So there we go, guys. I'm going to try to do one of those talk about nothings per month here. I've got my next couple lined up. I tell you guys in advance, the one for December is going to be Sarah from Sarah Reads, and the one for January is going to be Mark from Slowly Read. 2 awesome channels that I hope you guys are subscribed to. I'll drop them down below. I want to continue to kind of talk to content creators that don't have like massive audiences. I want to keep it to to people still trying to find an audience, see if I can help them out. And again, I know that they're doing this because they're passionate about it, and I want to talk to people that are passionate about books like I am. I hope you guys continue to enjoy those. I get nothing but mostly good feedback from people on those, and I am nervous sometimes when I upload a video that's 3 hours long that no one's going to watch it, but you guys seem to enjoy that. It takes me back to my podcasting day, so I have a great time with it. Did go back into the multiverse with Cy King. This was Gerald's game, doing about it the same as Stephen King stuff always does on this channel. Not so much interest, and over time it'll kind of pick up and things like that. That's fine. I'm always going to spread the gospel for Mr. King, and I hope that more of you will pick his stuff up. But Gerald's Game, very, very underrated book, I think. It's a book that I think a lot of misconceptions about. Oh, it's just a girl handcuffed to a bed. How interesting that. There's so much more to it than that. It's one of the best character studies I've ever read, so I was excited to talk about it. And anytime I get to make an intro for a new Stephen King book is always a good time, trying to decipher which quotes I want to use in those introductions. It's a lot harder. I'm going to say decipher. More like when I try to deduct because I got to get these down to like a minute's worth of quotes here, and I'm like, okay, which ones do I take out? And some of them were really hard. So Gerald's Game had a ton of great quotes that I highlighted. So there's a little peek behind the curtain for you. And then, of course, my wrap up with my book of the month for the month of November. What was that book of the month? Well, I guess you'll have to watch the video to find out. Anytime I get to talk about how the channel's doing and what I read over the month, what was my favorite parts of the month, it's always a fun video. I have a great time doing those wrap-up videos, so I'm glad that you guys seem to mostly enjoy those as well, and give me your feedback on, what you read in November, what was your favorite book of the month, and things like that. Let's look at a little next week plans, guys. Now, look, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys. Today I was trying to plan out my entire schedule for the month of December here, because the holidays are gonna be a little volatile. And what I mean by volatile, is that what I said? Did I say volatile, or did I say volatile? Volatile. That's a tougher word than I think it is to say, huh? Volatile with the scheduling, because the holidays can be crazy. Look, the kids are going to have time off of school. There's lots of holiday things going on. They're still doing scouts. I guess we got 2 kids in scouts now, and they're in different packs. So we have to divide and conquer on a lot of these things. Lots of events going on with them. Lots of holiday events, obviously. So these are just kind of going to be up in the air. There's going to be one automatic. I'm going to be doing As the Wheel Turns with Madison every episode for Wheel of Time. We'll be doing episode number 5 this week, which is for the episode called Blood Calls Blood. So I watched the teaser for it. Looks pretty cool, but we decided we were going to wait until. In fact, you're probably while you're watching this, when Madison and I are watching it, we decided we were going to both wait until Friday morning, because we're both off, and have our text thread like we did on the debut, because we felt like it helped us know each other's reactions to things before we did that video, which some people might be like, oh, I want to get that reaction kind of live, but I don't know. It helps us be like, hey, well, at least I know what you were thinking. You haven't had time to let it marinate for a while. I don't know. It's just really fun watching that as like a group. I think it's a lot of fun to do that, but we'll be doing that. I'm hoping, guys, to get my Empire the Vampire review up, because I do want to talk about it, and I know that a lot of you that voted for it probably want to hear me talk about it, and I do want to do it, but it's with reviews, guys, it's always just something I don't want to rush. I could easily just turn on the camera and just ramble about it for 10 minutes, but you know me, I too much structure. I feel like there's going to be, after I do that, I just be like, oh God, I forgot to talk about this, and this. So I just finished it, so I'd like to maybe let it marinate for a few days, let some things sink in a little more, and then try to get to it. So if I get to it this week, I do. If not, it'll be in December for sure. I definitely want to talk about that book, because I had a great time with it. I want to tell you guys why. New series on the 2022 TBR in permanent ink. Now, what this is I always have these things of, hey, there's a series I want to start next year. And then that year comes around, I'm always like, oh, well, I can always just scrap that if I don't get to it. These are ones that I am not bumping off for nothing else. Look, Malazan ends in June. I think the great Michael Crichton reread ends in July or whatever. So look, the second half of the year, I've got wide open, and I've got no plans. So I can be knocking out trilogies and stuff in a month. That's what I want to get back to doing. Doing the Pines trilogy last month. I'm going to be doing Godblind trilogy this month. And then early next year, we're going to be doing, the Memory Star and Thorn trilogy. Not in a month, but, just I want to be able to open things up a little bit more. So these are going to be series that I plan to start next year. And like I said, they are in permanent ink. They aren't going anywhere. I am at least starting them. Now, look, there's the thing about starting a new series is it can be like Poppy War, where I can start it and just be like, this ain't for me, and I'll end up dropping it. But these are series that I'm going to start next year, regardless of what happens, and see how things go. Now, I will have a couple on there that are, look, if I have time, because there is a point where it's just like, okay, I don't have enough time to do all this, but like my 5 that I have on there, that is ironclad. They are happening, and because some of those are read-alongs with some people on the Discord. So join the Discord in case you missed that memo. And something I'm not sure yet, kind of debating doing this. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, because I feel like it's kind of, sticking your hand into a beehive, really is. As you know, there's lots of criticism going on from hardcore book fans about the Wheel of Time adaptation. And I want to talk about, it's kind of like, I don't want to say necessarily a response video. It's more of a, I'm not going to sit there and read like my mean comments or anything like that, because I've gotten plenty, trust me. But I want to say what a response is more like, some of the people who've said certain things about my fandom for Wheel of Time. I kind of want to talk about why Wheel of Time is always going to be special to me. And it doesn't have anything to do with you. That's kind of how I mean by it being a response. It's something personal that I want to talk about. And so I think it's going to kind of be a combination of that, plus response, as well as just like my thoughts of why I'm okay with the adaptation that they've made, halfway through. So it's still a maybe. Like I said, I'm just kind of debating if I want to deal with the fallout from that, because I try not to do too much stuff like that. I don't try to kick the hornet's nest very often. But basically, when you get told, well, it doesn't matter what you think, you're not a real fan because you've only been reading it for a couple of years. That's why I'm like, well, I really don't think the fandom works that way. And I don't think it's up to anyone else to say if you're allowed to be a fan of something or not. So we'll discuss if I do end up making that video. You guys let me know if that's something you're interested in. If you think that would just be stupid, hey, by all means, drop in the comments, let me know. I always appreciate the feedback one way or the other. That's it, Books for Books, guys. I do have a couple of TV and movie talk things I want to talk about here. I got to talk about Get Back, the Beatles on Disney+. Now, yes, full disclosure, I'm a Beatlemaniac. I think it's the greatest band of all time for a reason. I think that it's not very much of a hot take to say that John Lennon and Paul McCartney are the greatest songwriting duo of all time. But what I think is just so special about this documentary, look, I've watched thousands of hours of Beatles material. I've read hundreds of books of Beatles stuff. This is 95% new stuff that I'd never seen before, and no one had seen before. And not only does it look amazing, which Peter Jackson did an incredible job by this, I think it is helping to dispel a lot of the narratives of why the Beatles broke up. We had always been told things like, oh, well, the reason that George left the band was because of this. The reason that they really broke up was this. Yoko was the reason that they broke up. Billy Preston was brought in just because they were fighting so much. They did that so they'd stop fighting. And you watch that documentary, guys, ain't none of that true. None of it. I mean, you see the moment where George hit a boiling point. You do get that on camera, and it was the scene that we had seen before of whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Where he's basically telling Paul, just tell me what you want me to play, if that's the way we're going to make this album. And look, you're in a creative process like that, tempers are going to flare, especially when they were on such a tight schedule. 14 new songs in 2 weeks, and they had nothing. They started from scratch, guys. But I think the greatest thing about this is it's a whole new generation watching this and being like, I'm curious about the Beatles. I just felt like it was something that I never really understood. And dare I use the word overrated? Anyway, so younger audiences are watching this and being like, wow, these guys were incredible. Yes, they were. I mean, you see the fact that, like, for example, there's just one part where they're all like doing different things, and Paul just starts out of nowhere on a whim, creates the song Get Back. And all of a sudden, George is getting a guitar riff going. Ringo starts playing drums. John shows up late, immediately picks up a guitar, listens for like a couple seconds. All of a sudden, he picks up all the chords, the time changes, and all that. And these four guys are just communicating brand new music with their eyes. And it's just incredible to watch. So it's one of those things some people might be like, it's kind of boring. I think that to me, look, the music creative process is incredible to me. Like, they're arguing about where to have lunch, and Paul's over in the corner writing Let It Be, one of their biggest hits, and he's just writing this just on the whim. That's just incredible to me that they're able to do these things. But if you've ever heard that phrase, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during that. That's what this is. You are a fly on the wall watching these four musical geniuses create magic, and it's just captured so well. So props to Peter Jackson for going through what I heard was a lot of tape. Like, I heard his rough cut was 15 hours. And they wanted him to have it at 4, and he eventually convinced them to 6, but then they watched it and they were okay with it being 8 hours. And guys, it could have been the 15-hour cut, not a watch. It's just mesmerizing stuff to watch, and seeing that these guys, even at that point, yeah, sure, they were growing in different directions, but they weren't just this big mess that we've always been portrayed that where they were recording that album, that everything was just chaos. And you just see they're writing these songs and recording them, and they're just having a great time. Sure, again, families fight. That's normal, and people who were in those extreme situations are going to fight. I think it just showed that it's just dispelled a lot of those rumors. And see, Yoko just sat there, guys. She didn't do nothing. No one was mad at her. I mean, Paul is interacting with her and stuff. I always heard that Paul was like, just hated Yoko with a white hot passion and stuff like that, and that was the reason they split up. Or it's cool to see some of these things, and they're already doing really just amazing stuff. And then Billy Preston comes in. And again, that was like a kid in a candy shop, wasn't it? I mean, ear-to-ear grin the whole time. This guy's just thinking, okay, I'm going to get to hang out with the Beatles. Awesome. And so I'm like, hey, we want you to help play on this album. Yeah, that has to be like a dream come true for that guy, And I think that they were already creating magic, and then Billy Preston came in with them, and it just took him to the next level. And it was just awesome to see, guys. So, Beatles fan or not, I say if you just love music and how music is created, it is definitely for everyone. Please check it out. It's just awesome, awesome stuff. And for me, that made the 3 years of Disney Plus I paid for worth it, all in its own. Awesome stuff to watch. And guys, that's really pretty much it for this week. I did watch Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2. I know that some people had asked me about that because I did go on record with saying that Part 1 wasn't nearly as bad as you guys sold it as it was. And this kind of more of that. Look, if you wanted your big He-Man moment, you got it. You got it. I think it would have really helped if Netflix had released this all in one drop. I think splitting it where they did really helped feed that narrative, that false narrative, I think, that went around, and it didn't really help it. So with this, I was like, look, Part 2, it was good. It was good. It wasn't great. It had the potential to be great. I think it did. The animation, otherworldly. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. You got your He-Man moments, and it was awesome. I think the writing's actually pretty good. There's just some things I felt like they did 5 episodes, but probably could have been 2 with the storyline that they told with these last 5 episodes. But it was cool to share He-Man with my kids, things like that. So I'll be thankful for that. And again, I think it's worth watching. Don't listen to the negativity you heard on YouTube. Watch it yourself and decide, because I think it's good. Like I said, I wouldn't have shared it with my kids if I thought it was just some of the things that they said about it. Let's just put it that way. So, guys, that was my week. What are you up to? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you playing? Drop in the comments and let me know, and have yourselves an awesome weekend.